and get through those steps in a real airborne environment with live weapons before we ever try to do that in combat.